Yesterday was World Frog Day, which is commemorated every March 20, and today is another big day in the environmental sphere. It is World Forestry Day, commemorated every March 2021, and tomorrow will be World Water Day, a day that is set aside to call for the need for clean water, of course, hygiene and sanitation, and of course, clean and safe, accessible water for every person on earth. And right here on the program Nature's Corner, we do our best as much as possible to bring together these events to your notice and raise awareness with the best way that we deem fit to do so. And today is no different as we shall be bringing to your notice these international commemorations. And not just that, we shall be zooming in and paying focus to World Forestry Day and asking the questions of how important forests are to us and what can we do to save it. What is currently going on with our forest and what are some of the preservation efforts that we can engage in to protect our forest. My name is Jabi Kitty. You're onto the program Nature's Corner of High Television, which is aired every Thursday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us. We take on this jingle break. When we come back, we kickstart the program in total. Welcome back. You're just in time to continue the program Nature's Corner, and if you're just tuning in, you've not missed a lot because we're just getting started. And today, as earlier reiterated, we shall be paying focus to some of the international commemorations that we have this week, especially on World Forestry Day. And you know, as part of the program, if you're a fervent viewer of the program, you would know that before we kickstart the program, every time we give you a roundup of what is making news in the environmental sphere, what is making news environmental wise in the country and across the globe. And today, of course, or this week, it has just been about some of the international commemorations, starting first with World Frog Day. March 20 is World Frog Day, which was created in 2009 to increase awareness on the plight of threatened frog species around the world. All amphibians, including frogs, are important components of the global system as indicators of environmental health, and they contribute to human health. And more than one third of them are currently threatened with extinction. Addressing the amphibian extinction crisis represents the greatest species conservation challenge in the history of humanity. And of course, as you can see on your screen, these are some of the frog species that we have in the world. There are at least 7,400 species of frogs, but sadly we also know that at least 2,000, that's 28% of these species, are threatened with extinction. The actual number of threatened species is no doubt considerably higher because around 1,000 species have not yet been accessed for their threat categories, and for another 1,000 of them, so little is known about their status in the wild that they cannot be accurately assessed. And you may be wondering what significance frogs have to human life and the ecosystem at large. The significance of frogs extends beyond their ecological roles as both predators and prey within food webs. They are integral for maintaining healthy ecosystems, controlling insect populations that could otherwise lead to crop damage and spread diseases. Additionally, frogs are bioindicators. Their presence or absence provides crucial information about the health of the environment. Their permeable skin makes them particularly sensitive to pollutants, thus serving as early warning systems for ecosystem health, which means that if you have a less frog in a particular environment, we should be worried given that maybe we're having lots of pollutants in that particular environment. And you should also know that frogs, they do prey on some insects that are responsible for the diseases that go around, so they are very important in our daily life, human life, and the ecosystem as well. And World Frog Day emphasizes the pressing need for conservation due to the alarming decline in frog populations worldwide. The decline is attributed to several factors, including habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, invasive species, and the deadly fungus which has devastated frog populations globally. And when we talk about frogs in Cameroon, let's narrow it down to Cameroon, as Cameroon is one of the nations that is opportune to have one of the rare species of frog, one of the biggest species of frog in the world, that is found just in Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea. That is the Goliath frog, very big, big as a cat. The Goliath frog, which is one of the rare species of frogs in the world, and it is found just in Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea. And of course, the Goliath frog is also suffering threat of extinction, as people do prey on it to eat. Communities around forest areas do capture it to eat, and in as much as we were saying that we know that there is need for food provision, but we are also saying that there need to be sustainable use of these animal species so that the children after us can also have what to eat. And speaking about World Forest Day, as earlier indicated, that one of the major threats of frogs is that we are facing habitat loss, which brings us to the issue of World Forest Day. Of course, we know that most of these frogs, they are found in forest, and of course watery areas, that's areas that have water. And since we are also saying that forest species are also facing threat, which means frogs too indirectly are facing threat. And this brings us to the issue of World Forest Day, which is today commemorated every March 21 to raise awareness on the importance of forests to our livelihood. And with me, I have in the studio two guests who shall reiterate properly on the importance of forests to the human life and the ecosystem. We'll take on the jingle break. When we come back, we unveil our guest for you. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. You're still on to the environmental program of High Television, Nature's Corner, which is aired every Thursday as from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And as earlier reiterated, I have with me two brilliant young men who are here to talk about World Forest Day, to educate you and I on how important these forests are, the threat they are facing, and what we can do to safeguard what we have already. And of course, we have these two brilliant persons. I'm going to start first at my left-hand corner. We have a young student who is studying international relations, but has somehow found himself within the corridors of environmental conservation due to passion, and he has been working towards preserving our natural resources to ensure that there is sustainability such that the children after us can still meet some of these resources. I'm talking about Kajok Theodore Yamta. Hello to you, Kajok. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Why is your voice low today? I don't understand.
I have a cold.
You have a cold. Oh, sorry about that. And then on to my right, I have another environmental enthusiast who has also been making efforts towards preserving the natural resources that we have in the world today, specifically in Cameroon and the southwest region, to be precise. I'm talking about Che Divine. Hello to you, Divine.
Hello, Mom. Good day.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm trusting that you bring divine grace today
Yeah,
to help us
obviously,
narrow
yes,
down this
obviously.
conversation.
Obviously.
All right, okay. Let's hit on straight to our topic of conversation. Today we're talking about the importance of forest to the human life and the ecosystem at large. Let me start with you, Chudor. Somebody may be wondering, sit at home and wondering, this forest that we talk about almost every time and that we're talking about today, how important are these forests to the human life?
Okay, the forest is very important to our human life in several ways. For example, we have a particular resource in the forest, which is the tree. First of all, I would like to start with the definition of a forest for us to better understand what I'm trying to say. So, a forest is any land that it's been covered by vegetation. That's what the forest is. As we all know, we have been taught from primary school that we send out carbon dioxide and inhale oxygen. So now the question is, where does this oxygen come from? They come from plants, they come from trees. That's one of the reasons why we should protect our natural forest, because they help us, they help with the air that we breathe. If we have a large amount of carbon dioxide being circulated in the atmosphere, I don't think this Cameroon will be okay for us to live in. So that's one of the reasons why we should protect our natural forest. Another reason why we should protect our natural forest is because this natural forest has a way of regulating the atmosphere, creating a conserved nature for us to live in. For example, you agree with me that we are experiencing a lot of heat these days. I want to attribute that to the forest. We have yes, a lot of deforestation. That's what I'm trying to say. So a lot of trees have been cut down, and these trees have a key role they play in regulating the temperature in the atmosphere. So those are some of the negative aspects of not protecting our natural forest. And to also add, you agree with me that there are so many medicinal trees and plants that we can only find them in the forest and not around us. And if we turn to destroy our natural forest, maybe there are some diseases that we will never find the cure to those particular diseases. Those are some of the reasons that I think it's good enough for us to protect our natural forest.
All right, thank you very much, Theodore. You've mentioned health and quite a number of points that you've mentioned. Hopefully the population is watching, listening and taking down notes, and of course jotting how important the forests are to us. Divine, I saw you itching to add to what Theodore was saying. Maybe you want to add generally on the ecosystem, what role forests play in ensuring a balanced ecosystem.
All right. So, like Mr. Theodore rightly said, the forests and trees play a great role in climate regulation. Now, how does the forest do this? The forest, like we know, the forest trees do take carbon dioxide and give us oxygen to breathe. Now, let's take for instance, let's say 2 hectares of land is being cleared out, 2 hectares of forest is being cleared out, maybe for development purposes, something like that. You know, trees have this person of capturing carbon dioxide and storing it. Now, when we cut down trees, we give a chance to that carbon dioxide to be set free. And when carbon dioxide is set free, it goes to add to the carbon dioxide that already exists in the atmosphere. Now, this effect now causes the greenhouse effect and increase in the greenhouse effect. And in that aspect, we are going to experience serious heat. That's what we are experiencing. Those are some of the reasons of why we have the heat that we have today, because a lot of trees are being cut down. And when trees are being cut down, carbon that has been stored in trees are being set free, and when they are set free, they go out to increase the carbon that is in the natural environment, and it has a way to increase the green effect, and so by causing the heat that we are facing today. Another important is the forest actually is not only a forest, but is home to some tribes. We have, for example, the Mboros and the Bala people.
Okay.
So those are people whose lifestyle are intertwined with nature. Yeah, intertwined with nature. Like for example, in Mboro, what they do basically is cattle rain. So that's something that is part of them, and they need this nature to survive. Need nature to carry out these practices. While the other tribes, like the Bala, as I mentioned, they actually carry out hunting activities. So it's part of their nature. Without the forest, they cannot carry out these activities. So these are just the two importance I would like to highlight concerning.
You mentioned that the forest is home to some people, but what about species? What about biodiversity species?
Yeah, obviously, like yesterday was World Frog Day. You made mention of, you were talking about frogs that they are facing threat of going extinction. So that's also a role the forest play. Let's say if we keep destroying our forests, like in the long run, we will not have these creatures anymore, because we don't have a home to stay in. That's why we should conserve our forests, so that we can also protect biodiversity, that's keeping these creatures safe, so that our children in the next future can also see them. like we do today.
Yes, as Divine is rightly saying, so our children in the next future can also see them. I remember I was in class just a few days back, and one of the professors was talking about an animal species which was as big as the elephant, or even maybe bigger than mammoth, which has gone into extinction, and we don't see it anymore. And so as we talk about forest, the World Forest Day, it also brings a call for us to remember that we are losing biodiversity species, and our children will only come to hear about them but may not see them. And sometimes we even say we use this forest, we hunt them, we use the species, but if we don't use them sustainably, then it may be a problem to us. And this brings me now to my question, Kilvon. You people have talked about how the wise are home to people like the borrowers who may be affected if forests go completely out of existence.
Okay.
But what about the economic benefits of it? How does the forest benefit us? How does it provide income to some inhabitants, and how does it benefit the economy of Cameroon?
All right, that's a very interesting question, but very tactical too. Okay, reason being that coming here today, I bought a tissue. A tissue is made out of a tree. I wrote on a book today that's made out of a tree. You understand? So all these are forest products. The doors we make in our house, the houses, some of the houses we live in, they are all made out of tree. So now, how do you tell a local carpenter not to go to the forest and cut trees? That's his source of income. So you're basically you're depriving him from his source of income. Now, there is a better way we can handle this situation. We cannot stop development, or we cannot prevent people from doing what they usually do to earn their income.
living.
Yes. Now, this is what we can do. This is the solution I will propose. Now, if you fell down one tree, ensure to plant 5.
Okay.
It's very important. Why? Because if you do not plant back 5, maybe you will later on, that tree you're falling down now, you'll come later to look for it again, to fall down, to still get something in your pocket, and you'll not have. Why? Because you refused, you neglected the act of replanting. So it is important for us to replant. Though we are looking at the economic sector, it helps the economic sector a lot, because Cameroon is one of the highest countries that exports timber. It shows that it helps the country a lot, but we need to ensure to replant back these trees that we are cutting down.
Okay, then what about farmers? Because you mentioned carpenters who may cut this wood and then maybe don't need to replant it while you're using the wood meantime.
Okay.
But farmers who cut down these woods to have space to go about their farming activities. In that case, how do we strike a balance between the two of them?
Okay. In regards to the farmers that cut down trees to maybe have space to plant their crops. Okay, we take for example like a crop, yam. Yam does not do well under shelter. So where you're doing maybe yam cultivation, they do not need any trees around. Now, how do we handle such a situation? Well, you and I know that that particular tree you're cutting down is very important, and it turns to affect us at the end of the day. So now, how do we balance up? Well, we can introduce modern ways of cultivation. Like for example, these yams can also be cultivated in your homes. In your homes, right? We can cultivate them in, let's say, cars. Like when we go for these agri shows that usually occur around the town, you see farmers come with very large yams. Those are yams grown from cars. These are also methods that are very sustainable. Rather than destroying the forest, we can propose another method that they can use in going about this particular agricultural practice of theirs.
Okay, thank you very much, Theodore. You've gone straight to the solutions already, and hopefully we'll catch up with you.
Yeah, sure.
Let me come back to you, Divine. Today we are celebrating World Forestry Day. Even before we get to maybe start speaking about the solution, but somebody maybe wanting solutions to what? What are we providing solutions for? You know, what are the problems that that forests are facing today, and how are the local people, how is a local man watching us now, how are they contributing to what this problem that forests are facing?
All right. Like we know, development is actually fast approaching in various towns, and we cannot stop development from happening. That one is very obvious. Development has to occur and it has to happen. So forests will face this threat of being cut down for development purposes. People are building mansions, building industries, companies, and the rest. Now, the local people, that's the farmers per se, they are the ones who play a very important role in uh, mitigating this risk of forest damage. That's helping these forests that have been threat that's of being cut down. Now, how the farmers play their role in helping forests be through their agricultural practices.
Okay.
Through agricultural practices or do agricultural practices, we know that at least even if we don't plant the trees, the crops we cultivate somehow, things like plantain, cultivate plantain almost like tree.
Like tree.
Yeah, they also play the role of a tree, but though not completely, but at least that's something that has been done.
Okay.
So also for those felling down trees, cutting down trees to build house, well, they still have a role to play, because you can build your house and you decide to make something like an orchard in it. You have an orchard garden where you planted maybe on guava, mango, plum, pawpaw. That's another way, so that we don't completely destroy the trees. We know that we have some that is still there to preserve the ecosystem.
All right, thank you very much, Chido. Of course, just concurring with what, Divine, just concurring with what Chido said, that somebody who harvests trees, if you do harvest one, do ensure to plant two, so you can even meet another tree to use tomorrow. And you'll be surprised to know that the issue of forestry conservation is not even for nature itself, it's for us, because nature can do without us, but we cannot do without nature. And when you cut that tree today to build your house or do whatever you want to do with it, tomorrow if you come back, you don't see that tree anymore. You don't have a roof over your head, because the roof you have over your head, you have been supported by these woods. And so when you do plant a tree, when you do cut a tree, you plant one. That's what my guest today are saying. And today is World Forestry Day, a day that has been set aside to celebrate these forests that we have, to reiterate to us their importance and to call for actions. All over the world, institutions, stakeholders, and environmental activists are joining forces to commemorate World Forestry Day. And Cameroon is no exception to it, as I know for a fact that we've had several NGOs up and about trying to sensitize and educate communities on how to commemorate World Forestry Day. But one thing caught my attention is how students of GHS Bukwango are taking it to the forefront. They are at the forefront to fight for for forest conservation. And today, on World Forestry Day, the Environmental Club of GHS Bukwango has been up and about doing poetries, dramatization, and all of that music, just to ensure that they pass the message across of World Forestry Day. We go now to meet the students, but first we speak to the delegate of forestry. That's Madame Delphine Ikomit, who is a regional delegate of forestry and wildlife in the Southwest region, who tells us more about World Forest Day, the importance of forest, and some of the actions, the innovations that are being taken to protect forest in the region.
Today we are commemorating the celebration of the International Day of the Forest under the theme Forest and Innovation. Looking at the theme, it shows that there are supposed to be innovations that we have to put in place to ensure the sustainable management of our forests. So at the level of the Southwest region, the innovation that we are putting in place is basically the involvement of all the relevant stakeholders involved in the management of the forest. We know the importance of forests, and it concerns everybody. Where there's no forest, there's no life. So we have to bring on board all those who are concerned. We have the school children, we have the traditional authorities, we have even the administration that is also involved in the management of our forests. In the Southwest region also, we are very much involved in carrying out reforestation activities, whereby we plant trees in identified areas, especially areas that are prone to erosion, very high risk areas along river banks. We plant in forest reserves, we plant in community forests. We are also doing a tracking system whereby all the timbers that are being cut can be traced for their origin and even to their final destination. We can identify them because they have been tagged, they have been given GPS coordinates, and we can really track them as they move from one point to another. Other innovations is the constant patrol. We have checkpoints. We have checkpoints that have been created by the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife in about 3 points here in the southwest. We have a tracking checkpoint in Mabanda in Kumba. We have another one in around Ekop in Manfe. We have another tracking post, checkpoint post for tracking and Mongo. So these are some of the innovations that the ministry has put in place to ensure the sustainable management of our forests.
That was the regional delegate of forestry and wildlife for the Southwest region, Madam Dolphine Itambi, who was speaking to our camera, to our lens on World Forest Day, the importance and some of the innovations that are ongoing in the region to protect forest, because this year's theme is centered on innovations towards protecting our forest. And of course, she was there with the students at GHS Bukwango. Now let's listen to the students, how amazing they are and how beautiful and cute they look while trying to preserve a forest species. They did today poetry, dramatizations, dramas, and music, and all of that just to sensitize their fellow classmates about World Forestry. They would have their kids do their presentation, then immediately after, would listen to the club president, Miracle, and then we'll go over to another member of the environmental club. Let's go visit the environmental club of GHS Bukwango.
From my environment, my love, my forest, gardens, my work, I can always make it better. But bushfires we all abhor, deforestation we abhor. Keep your environment clean, and you'll be my king or my queen.
I'm before 4A. I'm here to present a poem titled The Gift of Trees. Trees are a great gift of nature, which are meant to be nurtured. Like a mother to her children, they provide us with food and oxygen. Under the cold shade, we take in the fresh air which gives us oxygen. Eat their fresh food which gives us health, which makes us healthy. Let's protect trees to maintain these beautiful gifts of nature. Thank you.
Cosmos Africana. I am your friend. I help cure many diseases like malaria, gonorrhea, and kidney problems. I grow very tall and can be over 30 meters in height. Please don't overexploit me so that I can be useful to the next generation. Thank you.
My name is Jan Comfort Kanyami from 4A. What I learned from today activity is that we have to protect the forest in order for our next generation to enjoy it also. My message to the community is that we have to learn to protect trees, to stop deforestation, and to protect the wild. Together we can protect our forests.
My name is Wade Miracle. I'm a UIC student. I'm the president of the environmental club. So my school was able to hold the International Day of Tree, and by the grace of God, the activities went well. So as a president, I was able to coordinate some activities like my crew member were able to carry out poems, sketch, drama, just able to talk about the trees. So this day means a lot to us as young environmentalists who are growing up, because we're able to know what forest means to us, to protect them. So the future is, so that the future will also meet this wonderful forest, which many people, most of the community are trying to destroy. So as young environmentalists, we encourage each other to protect the forest so that the younger generation that are growing up will see meet this vegetation.
These kids have ignited nostalgic memories of my own secondary school days. But what is fascinating is that during my own days, we used to have literature club, Bible club, religious club, and all of those clubs, journalism club, but we did not have environmental club. And we are happy that we could see such initiatives, and we hope that maybe other schools around can copy it. And a day like this is very significant. You see how these children are the one championing the cause of forest conservation themselves. That's why we are hoping and encouraging that other schools get involved and create environmental clubs in their various academic institutions. And why not students as well watching, and maybe every other person can also join the call towards forest conservation. And it brings us now to the question of how then can we preserve and conserve our forests, because we looked at how important it is to us, to us humans. My guest says it helps to give us air, oxygen, it helps to protect our health, and it gives us income, and it also helps in fighting climate change, which in turn affects us. And then we are tempted to ask the question, despite these benefits, why are we still cutting down forests, and what can we do to save our forest? Chidlo, let me start with you. Okay. What are the things, the mechanisms that we can put in place to protect our forest species?
Okay, in regards to the mechanisms that we can put in place to protect our forest species, I would like to say the government has a role to play, as well as the members of the community. They also have a role to play. Now, for the community members, us, this is our forest. It is our thing. It is not the thing of the government or some other people's thing. It is our thing. It's for our benefit. Now, I think innovative campaigns are very important. Not ordinary campaigns, but innovative campaigns are very important to create awareness about the importance of the forest, the important roles the forest play. It might shock you to know that many people are ignorant about the roles that the forest play. So if we can have innovative campaigns where we go out, reach out to communities that are situated or located at the foot of the mountain, and educate them about the importance of the forest. I think this will go a long way to better conserve the forest. And as we all know, the normal anthem that every organization and everyone sings, if you cut down a tree, ensure to replant. Yes, it's very important. And even in areas that development has affected that area. Now, what can we do in areas like that? Let's try to create green space, where maybe in the heart of a town or a city, there is a green space where we have trees. Let's try to come up with parks, where we have trees, we have plants of all sorts. That can also help.
Accessible parks within the town, because we have parks like the Bakosi National Park in Maniguba. Maybe you mean like you can plant trees around a particular area in town, so it can resonate the idea of tree planting.
That's very important. And also, why not have trees in your houses?
Very important.
You can plant a tree in your house. When it's a hot day, you can do your best to sit under. It give you fresh air. So those are some of the ways I think we can try to adopt that will really help us in the fight for preserving our forest.
I remember one of my uncles used to love sitting under the tree a lot. He has a chair that he would put whenever it's a hot day, he will go under, sit there and have a nice and relaxed time. But I'm not sure we have most of these trees around anymore, since most of them have been cut. Over to you, Divine. What are some of the propositions that you may give as a young environmental enthusiast that we can adopt in preserving our forest?
Well, one of the things we could do is to establish protected areas. That's areas that we have a wide range of trees and natural plants that the public is being restricted from maybe cutting down trees and those plants. And one critical example that we have is the Botanic Garden in Limbe. That's a very reserved area for sightseeing, and also providing this kind of places, the established kind of places that are protected areas, also attracts income to the economy, like for tourism. The Botanic Garden is there, people come for tourism, and that's what they do. Another thing we could do is to the government to enforce rules and regulations, that laws that govern the forest, that hey, you do not go here, you don't go to the forest, and you cut down trees anyhow, you do your hunting anyhow, and the rest. And the last but not the least I'll talk about, which I think is the most important, is to practice what we call sustainable forestry. Sustainable forestry in the sense that if you're cutting down tree in the forest, or let's say you select, you do a selection, that's you practice what we call discriminate cutting down of trees. If you are cutting down trees, you don't just cut down trees, cut down everything, but you are selecting. Okay, this is a tree that's been here for, let's say, over some years, and you think with time the tree might fall, and the rest you can cut down that tree while you leave the young ones to grow and replace that tree that you've actually put down. And another the sustainable practice, forest practices, when you cut, you plant. That's reforestation. When you cut down tree, you replant another tree.
Yes, and just to also reiterate that there are laws in Cameroon when it concerns forestry and of course biodiversity conservation. And Sudan is just saying that, Divine is saying that we should reinforce those laws and ensure that they are being implemented, and we should add more parks, more protected areas to add to the ones we already have, such as the Bayangbo Wildlife Sanctuary, the Takamanda National Park, and the Bakosi National Park. And Divine, you mentioned mostly the government, but then I'm wondering, it is not the government alone that is involved in this fight, because most times we locals, we participate in cutting down these trees. So to the local man watching us right now, the members of the community, to that one viewer currently watching you right about now, what can you tell him or her that they can do to conserve and preserve trees? How can they participate?
All right. I would like to highlight on two things, which I'll say insist on sustainability. Whatever you do, you ensure that it's sustainable. That's if you're carrying an activity, farming activity or building activity, you should do in such a way that is sustainable. And secondly, how you can participate in protection of forests is through education. You've gotten the education here, the knowledge you've shared here. You can go to your community, you try to talk to, let's say, your farmers or the other locals around you, that hey, this is what I learned today and this is how we should treat the forest. And if we actually keep cutting down trees, these are some of the effects that we are going to face. So you practice, you should do your most of your activities sustainably, and also you help to create awareness, spread the message, and teach others.
Yes, because everybody is a stakeholder involved, and Divine is saying help to create awareness and spread the message to your community members. So to you watching me right now, to you watching us, when the program ends, do what to tell your neighbor, tell your child, mother, father that did not watch the program, that daddy, mommy, neighbor, today I learned something on TV which is about forest preservation, that when we cut trees we should plant more. And that is you being involved in the call for forest preservation. That is you volunteering. And it brings me to the issue of volunteerism when it concerns forest preservation and environmental conservation as a whole. Theodore, to you as a young environmental enthusiast who has been volunteering, what importance do you think volunteerism brings to the table of environmental conservation?
Okay, you're talking about the importance of volunteerism to the environment, not to the individual.
It can be both to the individual and the environment. It could go both ways.
Okay, let me start for the individual. Volunteerism, it's very important. Why? Because as a young person, let's say you're still going to school or you're done from school, what experience do you have to get into the job market? Volunteerism helps you gather that experience you need to excel in the job market. That's what volunteerism does to me.
But what about those who are not students, those who are just in the community?
Okay, those who are just in the community who are not students, it does same. Because every employer out there wants someone that can add value to his or her company. They do not want to employ someone that will turn to train at the end of the day. They want someone that has the experience already. So whether you're educated or not, they just want someone that is experienced, that can really deliver what they are asking or what they are looking for. Now, how volunteerism can benefit the environment. Okay, it's very important, because through volunteerism is an act of free will. No one pays you for doing that, but you take it upon yourself to do it. You do it with passion. Now, doing something with passion, you do it well. It's not like someone is forcing you or someone is behind you with a cane. So you tend to do it perfectly well. If I am to go to a particular area to advocate for a particular issue, let's say for example forest, I go there with my all. I go there with everything I have, and I do my best to ensure that the message is being heard. And this goes a long way to benefit our environment and the forest, because that information you are trying to pass, you do your best to ensure that it is being passed and the people listen to you and they are happy to receive you.
All right, thank you very much. And now, I'm very curious. When I read your bio, you two students, you don't have a background in environment or natural science. I was expecting maybe to see that, okay, this person is in the faculty of environmental conservation, environmental science and all of that, but no. So though you are into international relations, why Divine, you are an accounting student. So now this brings about it tickles my curiosity. What brings you people to environmental conservation? What is that drive that has swept people away from accounting to environmental conservation? Maybe not completely stripping you away, but what brings you to these corridors, Divine?
Well, just one word, passion and love for the environment.
Okay.
Yeah, without our environment, we will not have accountants, we will not have diplomats, we will not have journalists and the rest. So the environment is something that I think we are, the lot of people are underlooking. That's if you look at the way we live our life today, almost everybody, we live like we don't care about the environment. So the environment actually need people to take care of that environment, because without the environment, we ourselves, we will not be here. Yeah, the environment can be here without us, but we cannot be without the environment. So it's out of passion that we are doing what we are doing, because we love the environment and want to protect the environment.
You say passion. When did that passion start? When did it somersault from?
Okay, growing up as a young person, from my biography, my mother is a farmer.
Okay.
So it's from going to farm, doing farming, and the rest that I actually had that love, that passion for nature. So that's where my own passion for nature came from the farm.
Okay. So what about you? How did international relations somersault into environmental conservation?
All right, like Divine rightly said, it's passion and love. That's the drive that's been keeping us going.
Okay.
That's, for me, that's what I can say. And also, environment is everyone's business. It does not depend on your field of studies.
Okay.
Whether you're studying accounting, like you said, diplomacy, whatsoever you're studying, it is the environment. The business of the environment is for everyone. It's for everybody. If there is no good air for us to breathe, it is not only the environmental students that will be affected. Everyone will be affected. So why should I not make it my business?
Okay.
Yeah. So a young man that is passionate about change. That's how I see myself. I'm passionate about change, and I think this is a domain I can advocate for. So I took it upon myself to advocate for the environment, for our natural forest. So that's just.
How many years has it been for you into environmental conservation, and what are some of the hallmarks, the achievements, or the efforts you've made that you think it's worth the while, it's worth boasting of?
Okay, for how many years I've been into environmental conservation? I would say for a year now. Since I started my volunteerism activities. Though I have volunteered with different organizations that are focused on different issues and different areas, but I think I have been in the domain of the environment for a year now, and we have done to achieve a lot. It's fun. It's fun to do. Seeing yourself visiting different water catchment areas to clean it up, doing cleanup campaigns in communities, ensuring that you clear off all the streets from plastic pollution. It's good for me. It's a feeling that I like to feel all the time. For example, okay, I want to pay more emphasis on water. The water that we drink.
Yeah.
Now, some people can go buy water, but what about the others that cannot buy? They have to fetch from our local water catchment. So now, and they hardly have time to go and clean these areas which they fetch drinking water from. Now, if that area is not properly kept, it can result to diseases that can tend to affect them at the end of the day. Now, I as a young man, I identified this particular issue, and I said to myself, we can do something to make it better. We can limit the way people run to the hospital for maybe diarrhea or other illnesses that are in relation to water infection. So I took it upon myself to start advocating for our environment. Why should we live in a community where there is trash everywhere? Let's organize cleanup campaigns. Let's do our best to clean the streets of our community. I have done that in my community not once, not twice. I gather my peers and we do our best to clean the streets, our community streets. So to me, it's a joy that comes from within. That's how I can put it.
Speaking about campaigns and World Forestry Day, Divine, very briefly, like less than a minute, I hear you guys were doing some sensitization to educate some community members.
Alright, so in commemoration of this World Forest Day, we had the privilege to visit the people of the Bonakanda community, which is just located at the foot of the mountain. So that community is a very rich community with trees. I mean, if you go there, you'll be amazed because they still have their trees well preserved. Now, the reason why we choose to go to that place is because we saw that it's a place that is still well reserved. We still have trees, and we deemed it important to educate the locals of how important these trees are, and we also try to encourage them to protect these trees. And even if they are to venture into development, which obviously development must come, they actually have to do it in a sustainable way, in such a way that they don't get affected later. You know, one of the incidents we had sometime, I think last year at Boya Town, which we had water destroying people's homes, houses, and the rest. Now, these are some of the disadvantages when we don't have trees around, because what happened that time was what we call erosion. So, you know, Bonakanda is at the foot of the mountain and it's almost at a high area. Yeah. So those trees that are there that they have there is actually shielding them, actually shielding that community, because if, let's say, water happens to leave the mountain while washing soil down, those trees help to protect, reduce the rate of the impact of the erosion. So those are some of the things we try to make them understand, that these are some of the roles that these trees play. If you cut down these trees here, in some years to come, maybe what happened in Boya Town might also happen here in Bonakanda. So those are some of the things we try to educate locals about.
Thank you very much. I hope that Theodore and Divine have been able to inspire you today, two young, vibrant persons who are from the Department of International Relations and Accounting, and yet they have been able to brave the odds and dedicate themselves towards preserving our natural resources. It speaks to us as individuals and to the community that we must not be geographers, environmental scientists before we get involved into nature preservation, that we can take the call and at our individual levels contribute a small effort to protect the environment. You planting a tree as a person, a mother, father, daughter, child, you planting a tree, it's a big effort that you're putting in conserving the environment just by planting that tree. You picking plastics from your community and ensuring that there is a hygienic situation around your community. It's a big step in protecting our environment. So hopefully that Theodore and Divine have been able to inspire you. We're slowly coming to an end of the program, Nature's Corner. Thank you very much for watching, dear viewers, for giving us your time right from 3 p.m. But just before we take leave of you, let me play a little trick with Theodore and Divine first. Just before we get to the game, tell me, what's your favorite species?
Favorite species?
Forest species.
Forest species.
Be it tree or animal.
Tree or animal. I don't think I have a favorite species.
What about animals? You don't have a favorite animal species?
No.
You don't have? What about you, Theodore?
For animal, I do.
Which
my
one?
My tiger.
Tiger.
Because my grandfather refers to me as a tiger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Alright, so we'll play a little game. Do you remember this game? Zinza, zinza, on my little hands go. Kakaberry.
Okay.
Let me start with Kakaberry. If you please. For example, name of Name of animal species.
Okay.
Be quick. Elephant.
Be quick. Lion.
Be quick. Leopard.
Be quick. Tiger.
Okay. Be quick. Zebra.
Be quick. Antelope.
Okay. Be quick. Pangolin.
Be quick. Crocodile.
Is crocodile a forest? Okay.
Yes.
Be quick. Zebra.
Be quick. Elephant.
You've got elephant before. You've got elephant before.
Jesus.
You feel okay?
Okay.
Now let's get to you. Let's try it. Ziza, ziza, oh my little hands go. Kakaberry, if you please. For example, name of tree species. Be quick. Baobab.
Be quick. Timber.
Boma. Yeah,
And so since you come on here, you forget about plum tree, mango tree, and all the other trees. Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence. And it was a pleasure to have you both.
Thank you very much.
And just as we leave, maybe any last word to the community, Divine?
All right. I have just one message to the community and to the youth. I'll plead on, especially the youth, to actually stand up for the environment, because the environment needs our care. We as youth have the power, the drive, we have the energy. We cannot expect our parents who are already old to come and take care of our environment, but we have to play that role to protect our environment. And also to the general community, business people, farmers, and all those watching out there, please, whatever you do, make sure you do it sustainably in such a way that you are actually protecting the environment. Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Chigo. Last words.
Okay. I will not take much of your time, but I just have this to say. The health of our forests, it's vital for our well-being. We all have a role to play. So you have a role to play, I have a role to play. Let's do our best to ensure a sustainable forest.
Alright, thank you very much. Let's do our best to ensure a sustainable forest. In the course of the program, we told you that yesterday was World Frog Day, a day set aside to commemorate and celebrate frogs and to raise awareness towards your protection, because they play a key role towards our ecosystems and human life. And we also told you about one of the frogs that is currently facing threats of extinction in Cameroon, that is a Goliath frog. And in the course of the program, we also mentioned to you that today is World Forestry Day, and my guests, Tudor and Divine, have been reiterating to us, highlighting the importance of World Forestry Day, such as providing oxygen, ensuring good health, economic sustenance, and fighting climate change and soil water erosion, all of that. And meantime, they've also told us that we should endeavor to plant more trees. When you cut one, you plant two more, and that is just a highlight of how the program looked like today. And we also took you to GHS Bukwango to see some students who are frontlining environmental conservation, and they celebrated World Forestry Day in your school through poetry, dramatization, and music, dance, and all of that. And we are hoping that you can be inspired by these children, and also by the two guests I have with me in the studio. My name is Javi Kitty, and of course it's a wrap for the program Nature's Corner for today's edition. It's a pleasure to have had your company right from the beginning. Do to take the round of again next week Thursday for another exciting edition of the program Nature's Corner. Technical expertise came in from Townful Clothing, supervision from Editor-in-Chief Princess Alizi Kamilike, and general supervision from the manager Eno Ayok Humphrey. For now, we bid you farewell. Stay in the company of other interesting programs from High Television. Bye bye.